Have you noticed that since women have been given the right to vote, that the country going to hell in a handbasket?
Absolutely
Because
not.
women don't make good decisions.
And
It's
what
not.
evidence do you have to support that stance?
If you notice that, for example, in the Democratic Party, since they got more women representatives, um, uh, the blacks are relying on government more. They are relying on free stuff. They want reparations. They want everything free.
And that's because of
And
women?
because they have more women voters. I know they have weak black men in there too, but mostly women. And women tend to approve stuff like that, like abortion and all that. They tend to be emotional because women live in their imagination and emotion. And the decisions are made on how they feel and not what is right, the best thing.
I have to disagree with that. Women are still the minority in Congress and in the Senate, so there's still less women than there are men. So the people who have the majority to vote and the most power are still men. And we talk about women being emotional when it comes to decision making, but historically women didn't have rights or access to be able to make those decisions. And we still went to wars. We still have famine. We still had disenfranchisement when women didn't even have power. So to say that things have gotten worse when we've seen society progress since women have been a part of the picture just isn't valid, in my opinion.
But have you noticed that there are things that are happening in the country today that when men were ruling would not be? It would not,
Like
like
what?
same-sex marriage and abortion and all that.
Yeah.
It would not be, but as soon as women get in position of power, those things come about because women, again, they tend to be emotional and they tend to go the wrong way if they're not led by men.
I completely disagree with that 100%. People have been having abortions. Abortion is even in the Bible. Like, abortion just became safer, and we started to medically regulating it. But if a person doesn't want to have a kid, they're not going to have it. And sometimes they often take their own life trying not to have a baby because they're not ready. So that's not the responsibility of women making that legal. Like, that's just something that's been happening for decades. As far as same-sex marriage, there are males who are gay. Shocker.
I know, and that's nothing.
That's gay men.
It's nothing wrong with if they want to be that way, if women want to have an abortion, but they just shouldn't pass laws to approve it because people that are for that, they are not self-contained. They're not, they lose self-control. So we need physical laws to contain the lawless.
Absolutely not. I believe in, and I think that's something that I share with some people who are on the right? I believe in personal autonomy and I believe in freedom.
Right.
And so if you want to have freedom to make your own choices, I believe in that. If you don't want to have an abortion or if you don't want to be gay, then you don't have to. But those who have that lifestyle or who are that way because that's how they were born, that's freedom.
I know, but why pass, and you're right, but why pass a law for it?
Because you have to protect it. We can't have people, again, we don't believe in taking away people's freedoms. We believe in the freedom to have the Second Amendment. We believe in the freedom to vote. There's a lot of things that we have constitutionally that are protected in the Constitution. So why should we protect certain things like our Second Amendment right to bear arms and not protect, access to health care, women's health care, or not protect access to marrying who you choose to marry?
Before they passed law to allow women to kill the man's children in her womb, women were doing abortion, they were just doing it privately. They would do it at home.
And a lot of women died because of that. And so
but
we're
that's
a
the
modern
risk you
society.
take, though. That's the risk you take.
But it's a modern society.
And they have the right to, have an abortion at home or wherever, and if they lose their life, they take that risk.
But we have to think about medical. This is a medical issue. Before we had laws to sterilize medical equipment, people were doing open heart surgery without proper regulations. Like, as society evolves around us, we have to put things in place that protect people.
But
Just
abortion
like
is not a medical issue.
It's literally
abortion
a medical
is
issue.
when a woman decides, you know what, I want to kill this man baby. I don't want to have no baby.
Is it that man's baby or is it her own baby too?
She made that decision to do it. It's not like she had to do it. It's not like a
Right.
medical issue. So if
Sometimes
she
you do have
decides to
to.
do it, that's fine.
Sometimes you do have to. The state of Texas, 5 women are suing the state of Texas because of medical abortions that they weren't able to have. They were pregnant, they lost the child in their womb due to no fault of their own, and they were forced to carry babies that were dead in their womb. And some of those women experienced sepsis. They almost died because of it, the internal bleeding because of it, and they were not able to have a medical procedure that would save their life. So there are instances where abortion is quite literally a life-saving thing, and it's necessary that we have access to that.
What's important to you,
As far as,
period?
oh, so many things. Like I said, freedom. I believe the main thing that's important to me is for people to be able to have the type of life that leaves them happy, fulfilled, financially secure and stable, healthy, educated, all of those things.
You support the Second Amendment?
In some ways, yeah.
You believe that people who want guns should have the right to carry a gun, right?
In certain instances. I do believe
But
in
you
background
restrict their
checks.
freedom in some places?
Yeah, absolutely.
And why?
What do you mean?
But you said you believed in freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they have the right? Why don't we all have the right to carry weapons whenever we want? Any
Freedom
kind that we
within
want?
reason. Freedom within reason.
But
There's
how are you going to
necessities.
determine what is reason for someone else?
Just like we determine what is reason for a lot of stuff. Why do we have, why do you get a speeding ticket for going too fast? Who decided that we have to drive 60 miles an hour? Like,
That's right.
Just like you said, we can't
You're
have
right
a
about
lawless
that.
society, right? We talked about having to put constraints on things and making sure things aren't lawless. That's one of those things as well. So yeah, if you want to have a handgun to protect yourself, sure. Should you have to go through a background check? Should you be able, we always talk about how mental health is the reason why these mass shootings happen. Shouldn't we make sure people are mentally competent before they have a gun? So again, this is all, like you said, society, there's certain things that we have to be able to control. And yeah, we can't have complete lawlessness, to your point, to where we're just letting people do anything.
So then you would agree, if you believe in that, you would agree that a woman should not be allowed to kill the man's child after she get pregnant.
I don't
because
believe
if
that.
you let her do it afterward, she wanted to do it after the 6 months. She wanted to do it after the 9 months.
And that's after the 9 months is murder, because
Right.
once you're 9 months, the baby is viable
Before,
outside the womb.
during the
So
ninth
you
month,
can't kill a live
during
baby.
the 9th month, they would want to do it too if you let them.
You can't.
And
That's not true.
But they would carry it there. As a matter of fact, I believe it's Chicago. I could be wrong. They was talking about letting a woman do it, even if she's about to have the baby and she decided she didn't want it. She could abort the baby then.
That's not realistic, or that doesn't happen often. Most women have abortions
You
before
said
they're
often,
even.
but it happens sometimes.
Only time people have an abortion that late in their pregnancy is if the mother's life is at risk, and if the baby will not be able to survive outside of the womb. There must be some other medical issue going on to where aborting the baby was the only thing to do to preserve the woman's life, or something like that. Those are usually the only instances where an abortion has happened that late. Most women have abortion before even 8 to 10 weeks. Very, very early on, still in the very early phases of the first trimester.
Should she be allowed to have an abortion without the father's permission?
Absolutely.
Because she's killing his child.
And her child too. It's
And the
50-50.
father and the baby belong to them both. Should she be allowed to do that without the father's permission?
Absolutely, because it's still her body that has to go through 9 months of pregnancy. And as you know, pregnancy isn't easy on a woman's body. As you know, particularly Black women are 4 to 5 times more likely to die giving birth. And people lose their teeth, people lose their hair. Being pregnant isn't just like some walk in the park. So if a woman wants to choose that she doesn't want to risk her life and be 4 to 5 times more likely to die, if she doesn't want that responsibility, she can make that choice. Men don't die from pregnancy because men don't have babies. So
But
it's
why
more
should
to it
she
than
have
that.
to be allowed to kill the baby if it belongs to him too? Because it wasn't for the father, she couldn't get pregnant.
Because it's her
And
body.
all she does is carry the baby. The father do the work. He
It's
the one
not
put the baby
all
there, right?
she does.
And all she does
Carrying
is carry
a baby
it.
is a lot. Like I said, it's a toll on your body. Giving birth isn't a walk in the park, and I think you can ask any woman who's given birth that it's not easy. So yes, you donated your seed. That's great.
Not
But
donated. He
that's
put
good.
it there. If he didn't put the bread in the oven, there would be no bread.
Sure. And
Right.
if there was no oven, there would be no bread. So
Right. That's all she does is bake the bread, keep it there.